Hello and welcome here to another edition of Husker Chat Live. Sean Callahan here with HuskerOnline.com. Husker Chat Live is brought to you by Sandhills Global. If you have equipment to sell it at auctiontime.com and powered by ABM. And we've started this series here just over the last month or so, and it's been widely popular. We've had a chance to sit down and get to know really all of the new roster additions, and we're letting Husker fans ask their questions as well. And today, pleased to bring in one of the 17 newcomers that are already on campus for Nebraska right now, Oklahoma State offensive line transfer Hunter Anthony. Hunter, welcome to Husker Chat Live, and welcome to Lincoln.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been great.
Well, yeah, let's talk about just kind of how things all played out. You have 2 years of eligibility left.
Yes.
Obviously, Nebraska was in need of some tackle bodies. You saw an opportunity here, but you had a solid career at Oklahoma State. I mean, what was kind of your reasoning to want to look at this opportunity at Nebraska?
Just an opportunity, to play at another big school. Um, that's just really what I was after. Is the best decision for me to get the most playing time I guess I could, you know. And when I came and visited here, I feel like I can maximize myself and my potential here, and that's really what kind of drew me to Nebraska.
There was another Oklahoma State transfer that came to Nebraska. Did you play with Darian Daniels? Do you remember him
I
at all?
did, did so. That was my first year, my freshman year. Yeah.
And he came here, had great successes in the NFL right now. I mean, I don't know if you have talked to him, but I'm sure you probably followed Nebraska a little bit with him being up here. I mean, were at least on your radar at that point?
I honestly, whenever I entered the portal, Nebraska, I didn't even think about it really.
Uh-huh.
Um, I just didn't know what was going to happen. That's kind of why I wanted to get in the portal a little bit early to kind of see what was out there, see who was interested, I guess. But yeah, Darian was awesome. Actually, so the year before he left, I was a true freshman, so I was scout team. So I really got to know him because I played scout team against him, every day. Uh, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. People have nothing but good things to say about him. So he kind of set the standard, I guess, or um, that's what people always bring to whenever they think of Oklahoma State's Darian, and Darian did really well. So it makes me proud, and hopefully I can carry on the tradition and stuff. So it's big shoes to fill, but it's awesome that he set it up, I guess.
Well, yeah, and you said you went in the portal early, and I followed the portal stuff pretty closely. There aren't a lot of guys that go in the portal and still play in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about that process. I'm sure Coach Gundy, you had to kind of run that by him, and you had to be comfortable with it as well. You played a couple of plays, if I'm not mistaken, in the Fiesta Bowl against Notre Dame. So, I mean, when you were kind of going through that entire process, getting ready for a bowl game, taking an official visit to Nebraska, maybe even talking to other schools, and then actually playing in the game, what was that last month like for you in Stillwater?
It was kind of crazy. So how it happened was after the Big 12 game, I kind of had made up my mind that, I wanted to get in the portal because it's a short window, before school starts on. I think it was here started, I think the 17th, but normally it's about the 10th, or a lot of schools it was the 10th. OSU was the 10th. So I just wanted to get in there in the portal, because we played on the first, uh, played Notre Dame on the first, and I didn't want to have, 9 days to figure out a school, do all that stuff. I wanted to kind of get in there and see what happened. I kind of had my mind set up, and the bowl games are really fun. It's enjoyable time, but I kind of had my mind made up that's what I needed to do, for my future. And so I kind of went into Gundy, expecting maybe that he'd be like, yeah, well, that's it, can't go to the bowl game or whatever. So that was kind of in the back of my mind, but it was more important for me to kind of figure out where I want to be the next 2 years than to go to the bowl game and, enjoy that and do that stuff. So I kind of had my mind made up, but Gundy was really, really good because I really wanted to go talk to him in person, but they went recruiting because they gave us a little bit of time after the bowl game off before we did bowl prep because we didn't know who would play. We didn't know what was going to happen or how it was going to shake out. And the coaches went recruiting because there was a little open window there. And so I didn't get to talk to him in person, and I called him. I was really nervous, about what he'd say. You never really know what's going to happen. And he was awesome. It was like a 4-minute call. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. You've been great here. You've done what we've asked, we haven't any issues, but you kind of deserve to go to the bowl game, if that's what you want to do. And so, everything kind of lined up, and so it was kind of hectic, but he kind of relieved that for me. And then pretty quick after that, I got in the portal. And then I was finishing up classes. So it was kind of weird because right whenever I got in the portal, I was getting calls and stuff from different schools. And I was just trying to finish up my classwork like that. I thought it would take longer. So it was definitely kind of crazy for me because stuff started moving really quick. And then we were doing bowl prep. And so I was like, well, there's no way that they're going to let me go on a visit, And the Nebraska coaches came up and talked to me and stuff. And I basically told them I couldn't go. I'll ask, but it's 90% no, because football's such a big thing, I didn't think I'd be able to miss and stuff. And I was expecting not to. And I was like, I'll ask and kind of see what happens. And again, Gundy was awesome. He was really awesome. I ended up practicing on a Friday. So how we did it was we practiced on a Friday, off on Saturday, and then we practiced again Sunday. And so I think that's right. Or no, we practiced Friday, Saturday, off Sunday, and then we practiced Monday. So I practiced Friday morning, and then we drove up to Lincoln, got up here real late, and then took the official on that Saturday, and then finished up on Sunday, drove back home, and then Monday I was back at practice. So Gundy was awesome, and our staff was awesome, kind of let me do that because I didn't think that was going to happen either. But they were awesome. So I couldn't be more thankful for how they kind of treated it, I guess.
We're talking here with Oklahoma State offensive line transfer Hunter Anthony on Husker Chat Live. You played on a team that played for a Big 12 championship. You played in a New Year's Six bowl game against Notre Dame. There aren't a lot of guys on this current roster that have been a part of something like that. What did you learn just from those experiences, being a part of teams that played for a championship and played for a New Year's Six bowl game like you did this past season?
I guess what I learned was just never give up. The season's real long, especially when you play in a bowl game. You're putting, a whole month of practice prepping for one team. And so I don't want to be cocky or anything, but I know what it takes, I guess, to play a season or, to prep for a season and stuff. So it's long and it's hard. And so I learned that. And then just we had a really, really tight team. And so I've noticed that here, Nebraska's been super tight. The O-line's been awesome. We've already done some stuff together. The O-line's really tight group. So I didn't really have to bring that. I didn't know what was going to happen here, but really just everything seems to be in place, and that's one of the crazy things here is how close the team was. And I didn't know what to expect when I got here with the guys and stuff, but everyone seems really close. So I'm really excited, to actually start practicing in spring ball, as a team, as a unit. So.
Yeah, you're one of 17 newcomers that have come on the roster for the start of January classes. That's transfers, it's junior college guys, it's high school guys. That's the largest number Nebraska's ever brought in the history of their program. What has that been like, having kind of the quote new guys all coming in together? And have you gotten and spend some time with a lot of these new guys? And I'm sure you're familiar with Casey Thompson from his time at Texas, and he's also an Oklahoma athlete like you were growing up in the state of Oklahoma. Just give us early insight on how that's been with so many new guys on this roster.
It's been different, but to me, everyone's kind of new, I guess, if that makes sense, so I feel like if you ask someone who's been here for a minute, it'd be different for them. But for me, I'm just trying to get to know everyone. So I haven't noticed that very much, I guess. But Casey's been awesome. I wasn't sure what to think of him. He went to our rival school, Texas. But he's been awesome. We got together, the O-line and him, and we went out and ate and went bowling actually on Saturday. And so he's been awesome. He's a really smart, sharp kid. he brought his iPad to the bowling alley, so I was actually like kind of looking over his shoulder, and he was showing us all the formations and stuff. And because as an O lineman, like we learn the plays and stuff, but the formations and some of the other stuff, like we don't really have to worry about, I guess. But it was cool, like kind of seeing him do that, and he was at the bowling alley, like in between his throws and stuff, studying film or looking over the formations and doing stuff like that. So I think he's a really smart ball player. I'm really excited to get started with him and some of the other guys. But I haven't really spent a ton of time with a lot of other new guys. Purdy, I spent a little bit of time with him, talked to him. And then that's another thing. His brother played at Iowa State. So actually, Casey and I both gave him a hard time about that, his brother being there. But he seems like a great kid. Haven't got a lot of time around the other kids. Kevin, one of the other linemen, spent a little bit of time with him. He seems like a great dude. But the O-line's just been hanging out. So trying to get to know those guys. And they're all really good kids. So really excited.
So back to the bowling alley. Was that Casey Thompson's idea to take you guys all there? I mean, how'd that all come together?
Yeah, it was. He wanted to get together, and kind of take us out. And so that was awesome. Yeah, he took us out to eat at a Brazilian steakhouse, and then he took us to the bowling alley, and the bowling alley was full at the time because we had a pretty big group. So we played he got us some cards to play some arcade games and stuff. So a bunch of huge linemen like running around like an arcade thing. But it was a lot of fun. It was cool doing that. And, him taking us out, like showing the initiative and like getting to know us and stuff was really cool as well.
Were you guys at the Lincoln Mall or Sun Valley or which bowling alley?
It was round one. And then I can't think of the steakhouse, but it was one of the ones downtown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not.
Rodizio, or I think it's Rodizio.
Rodizio's. Yes, sir. That was it. It was great.
Well, that's they probably didn't make any money on that ticket with a bunch of offensive linemen.
I don't think so, but that was also another great experience because I don't know if Casey sought out, but like the managers were talking to him for a while, and then the manager came over and like wanted to take a picture of all of us and stuff and gave us a big shout out like to the whole restaurant, and then just hearing a bunch of like Go Big Reds and a bunch of fans, like they really getting excited, just for us to see us or be there. And then we go to the bowling alley and we had like 3 or 4 kids, come up and like, were really excited to see us and happy to see us. And all the guys were really cool. Kind of hung out with them for a minute. They brought us over like a receipt, like a big old receipt, and had us all sign it and stuff. So it was really cool, like seeing that, just like all the fan support and stuff's crazy here. Oklahoma State, we had great fans and stuff, but it's hard, when you got Tulsa an hour north and Norman an hour south, it's kind of hard to get, Nebraska's like this whole state is really pulling for this university. There's a lot of fans out here. It's crazy because my fiance's family back home, they were at the mall there, and I was talking to her, and I guess they were at the mall, and her dad had a Nebraska shirt on, and people were shouting "Go Big Red" and stuff to him, like in the mall, in Oklahoma City. And so that's crazy to me too. It's like it's countrywide, I guess. There's people everywhere, and so that's been awesome, like to see and kind of experience.
So was there about 20 offensive linemen that went bowling, or how many guys total were in that group?
I don't think there's most everyone went in 8, and then I think there were about like 16 or so that made it to the arcade, and we did that for about an hour. And then by the time we got to bowling, there were probably about 10 or so that bowled. Yeah.
And Casey took care of all you guys.
He did a great job.
That's a good way to get the offensive line to want to block for a quarterback when he feeds you guys and entertains you like that.
Yeah. And he didn't take us to any, sandwich shop or anything. He actually let some of the other kids decide. And I don't know. I think they kind of chose one of the better places, so good. But yeah, I wouldn't want to pay that bill.
Who knocked down the most steak?
I don't know. I think we all did our fair share of eating. I didn't sit by Bryce, but I'm sure Bryce and Henry probably put down a lot.
Well, talking here with Hunter Anthony, Sean Callahan, Husker Online. As you're viewing Husker Chat Live, we're brought to you by Sandhills Global. If you have equipment to sell, sell it at auctiontime.com, powered by ABM. All right, Hunter, let's get to some of the questions. Lots of comments, lots of questions have been building up here. We've got about 150 people watching live right now. Just a lot of Go Big Red. Welcome to Nebraska comments for you. This is a staple question. It's a Nebraska question. Do you even know what a runza is? Have you tried a runza yet? I feel like someone wants to ask this every single chat. You might work for runza, Eric. I'm going to look you up because I think you've asked this question on every one of these things now.
Do I know what it is? Vaguely. I understand what they serve. I don't want to be like, yeah, I know what a runza is. I know what they serve. I have not tried one yet. I need to do that before someone mugs me or something, because that seems to be a staple question for me too. So I definitely need to try one soon. That's on my list. I know what it is, and I definitely need to get in there and try it.
All right, got a question here again from Eric. Wants to know your thoughts on Donovan Raiola, the new offensive line coach that really, honestly, very few people around here know much about because he's new on the job.
Yeah. Well, first of all, his resume, he's never really been the head guy, but he's been at a lot of really respected places and coached under a bunch of really respected guys. And that was one of my things coming in was, you can't really call someone at the school he was at, and be like, hey, how was he? Because, he wasn't the head guy. So it might not have been his coaching style or whatever. So that's hard. But I actually have two great friends, and one that I would say is my friend, but it's more of a professional relationship. So there's a strength coach up there, Coach Anthony Hibbert, who he was at Oklahoma State. Nothing but good to say about him. Had a really good talk with him. Loved him to death. And I guess he came and talked to Coach Anthony about me. Coach Raiola did. And so he had nothing but good to say. Arlington Hambright was at Oklahoma State, and then he did his last year at Colorado, was up there. He seemed to enjoy Coach Raiola. And then Tevin, who was on our Oklahoma State teams, he's up at the Bears. He's a rookie this year, but he said he wishes he had a chance to play or he said if he had a chance, he would kill for a chance to play for Raiola in college. And hearing that from Tev, and I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with Tevin. That's big time, I trust Tev. He's obviously a fantastic player. He's doing great up there. So that was really big for me, is that stuff. And he knows what it takes to win. He's been at a lot of really good places. He was at Notre Dame with a lot of big-time names too. So he's coached guys who have made it and done really well. And the Bears, growing up, have always been my favorite team. So when he came in, or when I went on my recruiting visit, he kind of that's what he put up is the Bears film. Coaches usually have a little film from where they came from to show you kind of what they do or how they run things and stuff. And he put the Bears up, so I was kind of fanboying, He was like, the right tackle does so-and-so, and I'd know who it is, And then he asked me, like, oh, what are they supposed to do? And I'd name them by their names. Kyle Long's been a big Kyle Long fan. So some of those guys, like seeing them, seeing him coach them. And then now I have friends there, which is crazy because, like, that's the only team that probably 3 people that I could call, and would answer. They work for the Bears, and that's kind of my favorite team, So that's awesome, and kind of everything just worked out, I guess. But yeah, he seems like he's great. He knows what he's doing. He knows what it takes to win, and I have nothing but good to say about him so far.
I know it's early, and he's been on the road recruiting, but what do you know about just maybe the style that you guys are going to play here? First, maybe what you're coming from in the Big 12, more of a spread type offense you guys played at Oklahoma State.
Yeah. They're still dialing down, the offense stuff, like specifics and stuff, because it is hard because they are recruiting, and there will be like 1 or 2 coaches in, and then the others are out recruiting. So it's hard to, for them to get together and kind of like nail down what the game plan and stuff is going to be. So that part's like not really nailed down. But He's teaching a different style of like O-line technique, or more of attacking, like running, if that makes sense. Like normally O-line, you think of like short steps, staying and stuff, but he's like more of attacking type demeanor, and it's very interesting. It's very cool to, learn from him, and he's obviously done it for some really successful people that have had great success. So I'm excited to kind of for that to become second nature to me, instead of what I'm kind of used to. So just kind of working towards that.
Got a question here from Tony. Wants to know, what are your measurables right now, and kind of where do you envision yourself playing at Nebraska?
I'm 6'7", and then I think they weighed me at like 325 ish. I don't. On position, I have no idea. I've played pretty much everything but center. On the O line, I play a little tight end, so I don't think I'll play tight end. But I don't know. I want to say tackle, but it's real early right now, So I guess we'll see in the spring. So ask me that question in the spring, I guess.
Got it. This is a good question from Trey Loper. Wants to know, what do you envision the biggest differences between the Big 12 and the Big 10? And Nebraska, as you know, I believe 11. It was 11 years ago. They were a member of the Big 12 or Big 12 conference. Excuse me.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is you guys just selling out the fans. I touched on that a minute ago. Just a stadium with 100,000. I don't know exactly 100,000 plus that it holds. Just for that first game for it to be full. I'm excited for that, to see kind of what that's like. It's going to be awesome. And then the Big Ten, is known for running the ball and being kind of smash mouth, like, big kid football. So I'm really excited for that, to see that. Watching, Nebraska's film, seeing like 2 and 3 tight ends on the field almost all the time, is a lot different than from what we did. We did some, 2 tight end or 3 tight end, or, even 4 sometimes, but it wasn't as consistently as you guys do it, So I'm excited for that, just to see kind of how it goes. And then playing in some of those huge stadiums like our stadium. We're going to Dublin, like that's going to be crazy. Going to Michigan, going to the Big House, just some of that stuff that's like, I don't want to say some of the schools in the Big 12 are like new or upcoming, but I don't know. That's just kind of how, like, I feel like there's a lot of tradition, I guess, if that makes sense. Oklahoma State has like 40,000 plus, seats, and they're right on top of you, So like this, it's just going to be a whole nother level that I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be awesome to see and experience.
Yeah, that game in Ireland. You open up out there. I mean, is your family looking to go out there, and your fiance wanting to try to make that trip to go over to Dublin with you?
I'm sure they want to. I doubt it. I haven't even thought about that or crossed that bridge. I'm actually German, so I have family in Germany. So it'd be crazy if like my German grandparents and stuff could make it. But I have no idea. I haven't even really talked about that. I'm sure everyone would love to go, but I don't know if they'll be able to, or what's going to happen with that.
This leads me to the next question. You said you're from Germany. You got grandparents in Germany. Have you met Nuri Newelly, the German left guard on the offensive line? I'm sure you guys have had some pretty good talking points already.
Yeah, so I'm actually, my mom's German and my dad's American. He was deployed in Germany, and they met when he was like stationed over there in Germany. So not as German, I guess, as him. I haven't ever lived over there, but I've definitely visited. My grandparents and uncle live over there. And actually, when I was coming on my visit, I think my mom or somebody said something about him, and I mentioned to the coach, and I think they changed. I think I was supposed to be with Teddy on my official, is what I've heard, and then they changed it to Nuri because my mom was curious, so I texted one of the coaches about it, and I think they switched it. So yeah, I've got to know him. He's been great. And then actually, I got my dual citizenship like last year, so I'm actually a dual citizen with the U.S. and Germany because they do it by blood, I guess. And so my mom's full blood German, and so I got to do that. So that's another thing that's really cool and I guess different about me.
Wow. That's a really unique deal there. Got another question here. How much Nebraska did you get to watch last year? I mean, you had a chance to kind of catch yourself up. I mean, are you familiar with kind of the ins and outs of how they went 3-9 last year and how close they were in a lot of those losses?
Probably not as much as most people. Most of the fans that were at all the games and stuff. But before I committed, I watched the Iowa game and I watched a couple of their later games. And yeah, it's crazy because the Iowa game, if you take away some of their silly mistakes they had, I'm pretty sure they had a safety, a block punt, and maybe a pick. I think those were the three that kind of knocked them down there. And I don't think Iowa scored a touchdown other than that. I remember watching that game. The full game's on YouTube, so I watched that before I committed. And yeah, I do. And then some of the coaches were talking to me. The average game was in between six, was under six. Some of the defensive coaches, and except for the Ohio State where we missed the field goal and then they drove it and kicked a field goal and it was 9. So I do know that they're very close, and that's kind of what I was saying. It's like I didn't know kind of how the players would be or how this or that because of their record. It's hard to play and put in this much time because we're already training for next year. It's hard to put in this much time and not do great. And at Oklahoma State, my first year, we went 6-5, I think, and that was like an awful year for us there. And I remember like our morale was low, like the coaches were mad, like we had shirts that had all the teams that beat us on front and back, and we had to wear those every day for workouts and stuff. And so I didn't really know what to expect. But when I came here, like really all the players are super tight, and they work hard, and the O-line's super tight. And so that's one thing that's been awesome. And I wasn't sure how it was going to be, but like really everyone's been doing their best to, bring this program, to the next level to be the best.
I remember when Darian Daniels came here, one of the things he said compared to Oklahoma State was that Nebraska lifted differently. I mean, what have you noticed with just how people lift here compared to maybe what you were used to before?
Yeah, they definitely do. It's been kind of crazy. So Oklahoma State, like Coach Glass, he's great. He does a great job, phenomenal job. But they just lift much heavier, like loads than we do or than I was used to. Like usually, like Oklahoma State, if we're doing 10 reps like we're doing now, we aren't pushing half as much weight as we are now, as we are at Nebraska. And so, yeah, the lifting is a lot different. Strength training was born here, so they've been able to dial it down. But I'm just excited, to kind of get in the groove of things and get going. But yeah, they definitely, the loads are definitely higher here. And it's also different because it's very interesting because at Oklahoma State, it was very much so like everyone kind of did 90% of the same stuff, and maybe the O-line, D-line did a little bit different, on certain things. But here, Coach groups it as like power, big skill, and then just skill. I think it may be something a little bit different, but so like O-line, D-line does a lot more like power stuff, and the other positions do some other stuff or more running and such. So it's definitely interesting, and I'm excited to kind of see how it goes, this winter, and just put in some work.
Got time for about one or two more with Hunter Anthony here as we wrap up this Husker Chat Live. This one I'm sure but how excited are you to play against Oklahoma one more time? Obviously, you grew up in Tuttle, Oklahoma, so I'm sure the game with the Sooners in Memorial Stadium is going to mean a lot to you when they come up here in September.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Oklahoma State, we beat them last year. And so I want to carry that on and beat them again. There's nothing greater than beating OU. That was actually one of my first purchases after my before I officially committed, was I bought a Beat Oklahoma hat because I just like, even if I didn't come here, like that's something I would have wore, And so, yeah, that's got a special place for me is to beat them. And I feel like they're playing really, really good football, So like when you can beat a team like that, it's always good, and I'm not a fan of them, but I don't want to say too much or, say something I
Sure.
should. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, final question here is from Randy, and kind of a two-parter. Number one, how soon did Nebraska contact you when you got into the portal? And then finally, what was the key thing that caused you to pick Nebraska when you kind of look at this process now?
Okay. So I want to say it was within a week. Some of their assistants, contacted me a little bit, and then Coach Verducci contacted me a little bit, and then Coach Shenander did, and then Coach Shenander actually came to see me, and they came to see me, in Stillwater, and they told me I was, the only guy they came and saw, and it kind of worked out weird because I had testing on one day, the day they got in, so they got a hotel, and the next day I went and saw him, and so it was really big for me, Coach coming down, and at that time he was the highest guy on staff other than Coach Frost, and so for them to send, basically their highest guy down to see me, and was on the other side of the ball, like that meant a lot to me, for them to show that they care like that, and they wanted me to come on the visit, and that's kind of what I was asking was like, I had no idea. I did some research, they didn't have their line coach or their offensive coordinator, which are huge to me. And so that concerned me. And they're like, yeah, when they came and visited me, they're like, we have some guys nailed down. We can't, we aren't public with it yet, but come on and visit, and you'll know who it is and stuff. And so I called Tevin, and some of those people from Oklahoma, or that were at Oklahoma State that are now in Chicago, had nothing but good to say about him. And then after that visit, I was pretty sure, I was sure, and I told Coach Frost, and he actually told me to wait until after the bowl game, to make sure I didn't make anyone mad or frustrate our coach at Oklahoma State or do anything like that. He didn't want me to. So he was also a big part in that, helping me or made me feel comfortable, to wait. He actually brought that up. I was going to commit, almost immediately after that visit, but he told me to wait. And so that was really awesome too. Showed me he cared and actually cared about more than just, me committing to him immediately or whatever, So that, and Coach Frost is hard to beat, he's awesome. He's easy to talk to. I feel like he's a man of his word, Coach Duvall, all the staff was really awesome. And so that was kind of why I picked Nebraska. I kind of touched on that earlier, and it's hard to beat, the fans here and the support that Nebraska has. So all those things kind of led to my decision.
Well, Hunter, we really appreciate you taking some time for Husker Chat Live, and best of luck as you make your way through winter conditioning. Spring practice is about 6 weeks away, so we're right around the corner from seeing you on the football field here with Nebraska.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thanks to all the fans that had questions and stuff.
Well, that wraps it up here for Husker Chat Live. Once again, brought to you by Sandhills Global. If you have equipment to sell it at auctiontime.com, powered by ABM. Signing off, Sean Callahan with HuskerOnline.com.